Good evening, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube friends. Thank you for joining me. We are going to get started in about 2 minutes. While we're waiting for people to pile in, if you have any particular areas that you are interested in moving to, if you could please share it with me in the chat box. It allows me to kind of curtail this evening's presentation. A lot of the programs change quite a bit from city to city, county to county. I'm actually located in southeastern Michigan, and today we were kind of running our more ads for our webinars more statewide. So just like to be sensitive for people in other areas of the state that might be joining us. Mount Morris, Flint, thank you for sharing that. Danielle, Detroit, great. I am from Detroit. Warren, Roseville, Sterling Heights, great. Programs available everywhere. So we're going to spend this evening, we're going to go over some success stories. We're going to go over the application that my team and I built that has over 3,000 different down payment assistance programs and grants across the country. So as far as I'm aware, we are the first people to actually compile this level of data, and we're actually quite excited to share it with people, certainly in our backyard in southeastern Michigan, also across the country. So great, East Point, Roseville, Warren. You know what? I have quite a few homes coming up. Since iPhone, BW25, and Elder, I have an investor. Actually, it's a property management company that is actually just shared with me a list of about 20 homes that we're going to be putting on the market, highly concentrated in East Point, Warren, and Roseville. I think we do have a couple in Redford, and then maybe Farmington Hills as well, priced anywhere from $80,000 to up to $200,000. So these were homes that have been rentals for many years, and they're just time to retire, and they're liquidating. So anyone looking for homes in those marketplaces, we have a lot of tools at our fingertips to get people into those with very little money out of pocket. And for those of you that are interested in those markets, please book a call with me. I'm actually going to share a link because I always get sidetracked and never do this enough. We have lots of time slots available. I always tell people, book a call with me. I love learning people's situation, putting myself in their shoes, and then telling you what I would do to tap into the different down payment assistance programs and grants that are currently available. Now, any of you that are old school like myself, here's my phone number, 248-252-7283. I'll share that with you right now. So please text me, and I can share a list of all the homes that are going to be coming up in those marketplaces. So and let's get this out for our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn friends. There you go. All right, so a couple minutes after 7 o'clock. Never know what kind of audience, how many people we're going to have for these summer webinars. They tend to tail off a little bit and then spike back up during the fall and winter months. So let me get this recording going.
Recording in progress.
Now, I do record all of my webinars. If you want any previous webinars, you can go out to my YouTube channel. It's called Own the Roof. And I actually have a website, Own the Roof, that has all kinds of educational content to teach people how to purchase homes with very little money out of pocket. So I always like to keep these webinars down to about 50 minutes, just because I know when I'm on your side of the screen, that's about my attention span the older I get too. So let me make sure I've got my, here we go. We'll turn the screen on so you can see who I am. So my name is John Collins. I have been doing these webinars for probably 4 or 5 years now, teaching people how to purchase with very little money out of pocket, tapping into different down payment assistance programs and grants. Now, as fate would have it, there is a lot of money sitting in southeastern Michigan right now. About half of the business that I do is actually in the city of Detroit. So, hey, Brenda Starr, thanks for making it. So there are programs right now in the city that offer up to $75,000. I'm not going to focus on a lot of those, but I'm going to give you the tools to where you can see those, and certainly invite all of you to schedule a call with me. So, like I said, so I can learn your situation and put myself in your shoes. So it wasn't too long ago that I was actually on the other side of the screen. I've been in real estate for 38 years now. I spent over 25 years in the mortgage world. That's how I learned to tap into all of these down payment assistance programs and grants and structure these transactions to get in with very little money out of pocket. It was just by the way of a financial meltdown back in 2013, where unfortunately I had a bookkeeper that took the liberty of taking a fair sum of money, and it was a hard spiral down for me. And after going through all of that, you name it, bankruptcy, foreclosure, I was dragged through it all. So, but after doing that, it was one of those moments where, do I want to spend another, X amount of years rebuilding? Because, what I was doing would pay the bills, but it really didn't give me a lot of satisfaction. So about 12 years ago, I got back into real estate, where I started over, gosh, probably about 20, would have been 1987, I think, is when I got my real estate license. And then shortly thereafter got married and went over the mortgage world. But be that as it may, I realized that, chasing money and dollar bills just wasn't, it wasn't the thing that made me feel fulfilled. So at that time, I decided to turn things around and start educating people on a lot of the down payment assistance programs and grants. See, when everything was pulled out from underneath me and my family, we rebuilt somewhat after a couple of years, and I actually qualified for a down payment assistance program. And at the 11th hour, the loan officer basically took it upon himself to say, John, you don't need it. You got a couple $1,000s in a retirement account you can use. And it was my wife's leftover retirement account. It was probably our last few $1,000s we had at the time. Now we wanted the house, so we went through with the sale and liquidated the money. But it was at that time where I said, you know what, that's it. I'm getting back into real estate, and I'm going to educate people on these down payment assistance programs and grants. And I have been doing this ever since. I absolutely love what I do. It's very, very rewarding how many people I can help throughout the course of a month. So that's what I am all about. So anyways, with that being said, I want to kind of jump right into things and kind of walk right through it. I'm going to answer as many questions as you have this evening. If you actually have any property addresses in mind, I have no problem towards the end looking those properties up, showing you all the down payment assistance programs and grants available, and tell you how I would structure a transaction to get in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. And right now in Southeastern Michigan, there are a couple of programs where all you need is $1,000 and you can buy a house. Just absolutely crazy. So anyways, let's jump right into this and get things rolling. So to start off, I always tell people, because actually I get people that actually comment on some of our Facebook ads that this is a scam. I am telling you, this is not a scam. I have been doing this month in, month out. I do these webinars probably 3 times a month. Brenda Starr, I mean, I've seen your name regularly. How long have you been with me, Brenda? I mean, I am not here for one person, one transaction. I am all about the educational content that I push out. So you'll see in a moment the commitment that my team and I have to educate people. So, and hopefully by the end of this webinar, you're going to have enough hope where you will actually schedule that call and we can map things out for you. I will tell you, it's not, everybody's timeline is different. Okay, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, it doesn't matter to me. Okay, Brenda, thanks for sharing that. She's been watching my webinars for 2 years now. So I didn't know you heard about this one. This one was pretty much just advertised for people on Facebook across the state. So, but I'm always glad to have you here, Brenda. So thanks for saying that. So I want to share with you some of the success stories we've had over the past 12 months. This first person, this is Nate. Nate purchased this home in White Lake Township. Now, he used a down payment assistance program that gave him $14,000. Okay. The home was priced at $260,000. So the $14,000 covered 100% of his down payment. And then we were able to ask the seller to pay some of his closing costs. That way he got in with just a few $1,000s out of pocket. In addition, Nate got a solar package, was part of his deal. So the down payment assistance program gave him money and gave him a solar package that I guess is knocking about $200 a month off of his electric bill. So great program. The only downside is you're kind of stuck with that program until that solar system, I think it's for 5 years, and then the loan for the solar system goes away. So good alternative. He's planning on being there for the duration with his wife, I should say girlfriend or fiance, Chelsea. So anyways, next one, Kenneth. Kenneth was actually referred to me from his barber. He called me from his barber, called while he was in the barber chair and handed him the phone and said, "Hey, you got to talk to this guy, John." At that time, Kenneth was working with another real estate agent that was trying to shoehorn him into a house on a street that I grew up on Lamphere. If any of you know Detroit, it's in Brightmoor. Okay. So the house that he was trying to be forced into was less than quality. Now, Kenneth was being forced out of a rental that he was in because the person whose name was on the lease moved out, and the landlord basically said, "Sorry, Kenneth, you're not on the lease. You got to move." So that's when his barber, who heard his story, connected him with me. Now, we took a look at the house on Lamphere that he was interested in, and I was like, Kenneth, I appreciate it. I'm partial to the Brightmoor area. I grew up here, but I think we can do better. And we did. We ended up finding him this house on Vaughn that was totally redone. Okay. And he got into it for $95,000. He used a $10,000 program from the state of Michigan. And all in, he got in with only $950 out of pocket. He didn't need any money at closing. Between his deposit and paying for his appraisal, that's all he had to do. So very happy for Kenneth. The next person, Shannon. Shannon works at the Kroger, 8 Mile, Wyoming. Shout out to those Kroger people there. I've been blessed with a few people that work there, so I am always partial to their deli department, especially when it comes to the fried chicken. So I am a sucker for Kroger fried chicken. I will admit it. Anyways, Shannon, when she was referred to me by another person at Kroger, Shannon she doesn't like to drive. And I find that that's a growing population. There's no shortage of crazy out there driving nowadays. She wanted some place where she could walk to work. So we found this ranch right on Wyoming, a couple of blocks away. She was able to get in with a zero down grant. She bought the home for $117,000, and she only needed a couple $1,000s out of pocket at closing. So very happy for Shannon. Next person, Emily is near and dear to my heart. Reason being, Emily was the first person to buy a home through myself and the Detroit Housing Commission using her Section 8 voucher. So if you know of anybody that has a Section 8 voucher, you can actually buy a home with it. Okay. Now, Emily was the first person through the Detroit Housing Commission to be successful. And I'm very proud of that, because after Emily got done, we have since been doing one or two every single month. And right now, I probably have a half a dozen people who are currently purchasing homes using their Section 8 voucher. So Emily was sitting in a spot where she had good credit. So we were able to stack programs. We got the $25,000 down payment assistance program from the city of Detroit. On top of that, she got a 3% down payment assistance grant that was forgivable after 5 years, and then a closing cost grant, I think of another $3,000, and then an appraisal grant. So she totaled it all up for $33,134 for a home that was priced at $117,800. So she actually got a house for a payment like $750 a month. Right now, that's the price of a one-bedroom apartment, and it is a really nice 1950s three-bedroom brick home, nice finished basement, fireplace, two-car detached garage. So she was very fortunate. Okay, if I could find a house like that for everyone, my life would be so much easier. But they're not that plentiful. But anyways, very very happy for Emily. Next one, uh, Tashiana. So she purchased a home using the $25,000 City of Detroit program. Brian purchased a home in Inkster using the $10,000 from the state of Michigan. And he was able to purchase a home with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket and payments of only $1,200 a month. And then finally, Deborah. Deborah purchased the home. This home was actually on one of the lawn streets. I think it was on Cherry Lawn in the University District. So we were able to purchase this home. I think she ended up getting it for $125,000. She was very blessed with a landlord that promised to sell it to her at a very reasonable price. And then a couple of years later, when she was able to do it, LaDon, the gentleman in the upper right-hand side, he actually honored that price. So he is one of the, I know the landlords get a bad rap, but I'm telling you, this man is one of the good ones. And every now and then I have one of LaDon's renters on my webinars. So I'm always singing his praises. But Deborah actually qualified for a $75,000 Tobias Harris down payment assistance program. Plus, LaDon gave her a gift of equity. So we increased the sale price up, got her the gift of equity. She ended up getting this house for $700 and something a month out of pocket. So a lot less than the $1,200 a month she was paying in rent. So very, very happy for Deborah. And as long as she lives in the home, she doesn't have to make any payments on that $75,000. Now, when she sells the house, they want the money back. But she's not going to be moving anytime soon. It's her and her grandson. Oh, let's not do that right now. Okay, so we're going to deny AI access to listening to things here. But anyways, very, very happy for Deborah. So the one thing that all of these people have in common is many of them started where you are right now, and that's on one of my webinars. Okay, so now we're going to take some time and we're going to go through what it takes to qualify for a lot of these programs and the steps. Okay. So first and foremost, what is down payment assistance and what are grants? Okay. Now, grants are typically free money. Sometimes you have to stay in a house for a couple of years and you get to keep all the money. So for example, right now, the city of Detroit has a down payment assistance program that acts like a grant, but it's really a down payment assistance program. Grants are typically free money, but sometimes they have components where you have to own the home for a few years. Sometimes you just get the free money at closing, like Emily did. Okay. And there are other programs available too. Now, down payment assistance programs come in three types. Number one, you basically buy a house, get the down payment assistance money, you own it for 3, 5, 7 years, and you get to keep all the money. Acts just like a grant. Okay. But they call it a down payment assistance. The second type is where you get free use of money. Okay. Like Deborah had free use of 75,000, or I think there were a couple of other people that had free use of 10,000 from the state of Michigan. So what those are, you get the money at closing, you never make any payments on them, they never charge you any interest, but when you sell the house, they want their money back. So you get free use of the state's money or the fund's money. Okay, so you get free use of money, why not take it, is how I look at it. So if you're going to get, somebody's going to give you $10,000 today, and you can keep the house for 30 years, and at the end of 30 years, they want their 10,000 back, that's a deal. Chances are in 30 years, that $10,000 in today's dollars might only be worth 3,000 or 4,000, the way the inflation starts eating at the dollars. So the third type of down payment assistance programs are ones where they give you money and then you repay it with interest over time. I don't do many of those. There's so many other down payment assistance and grant programs available. I don't really see any reason to do the other ones. I think last year I might have done two. So I don't want anybody to think that that's commonplace, because a lot of people tend to um, think that down payment assistance is either expensive or you got to make payments or subject to higher interest rates. And don't get me wrong, there are programs out there like that, but I tend to navigate around those. And you'll see in a moment, once you get access to my application, you'll see how you can sift through and see all the different programs that are out there so much more easily than people had to go through the past, a few years ago. So as far as eligibility requirements, now typically if your credit scores are above 600, you're in a good spot. We can usually get something done. I have programs that will go down to 580 for credit scores quite easily. Anything below 580, sometimes we need to do a little bit of work. Now, for any of you that need help on the credit side, okay, we do credit boost. I do credit boosting webinars. I have not scheduled my next one yet, but I will put a link here, and I am just remembered I need to schedule this in or on my website. So please be patient. I'll try to get that new date scheduled as we push out our dates for next month. I typically only do the credit repair webinars once a month. Okay. So credit scores, we have tools to get there. Our credit repair webinar is called Get Your Scores Up 60 Points in 60 Days. So if your scores are in the mid 500s, it's very easy for my team and I to get you coached up above 600, under 90 days to get you into some of these programs. Okay. So as far as income, some of these programs have income requirements. Okay. Sometimes you can't make below or above a certain amount. Sometimes you can't make below a certain amount. Everyone's a little bit different. So that's why I always tell people, schedule a call. Let me put myself in your shoes and tell you exactly what I would do, so we can, if not for anything else, start to stack some of these programs up so you can get the most amount of money that's available and take advantage of everything that's offered out there. Okay. So the benefits of down payment assistance programs and grants are we use this money to cover your down payments, and whatever's left over, we can sometimes use that to cover your closing costs. And there are other ways where we can ask the seller to help with closing costs. We can ask lenders for lender credits. There's all different ways and tools and levers to pull, buttons to push to get people in with very little money out of pocket. So some of the biggest misconceptions that we run into is people think that they need money. I'm telling you, after you go through this evening and you see all the different programs that are out there using our app, you're going to see the money is actually the easiest part of this whole equation. So there's three things that go into getting approved when purchasing a home. You've got your assets, which is your down payment, your closing costs, stuff like that. And I'm telling you, that's the easiest part. The second one is credit. We got you covered there with our credit boosting webinar. The third one is your income. They don't want to see more than 40 to 45% of your income go to your house payment and whatever debts are showing up on your credit report. So let's say, for example, let's say you have income of $4,000 a month. 45% of that would be $1,800 a month. We subtract maybe $500 for car loan, credit cards, things like that. And not all your debts, just what's showing up on your credit report, okay? Like credit cards, auto loans, student loans, things like that. So if we have $1,800 a month is the maximum that can go to all of that, subtract $500, that leaves $1,300. $1,300 right now is getting about $150,000 mortgage. Now think about if we throw a $20,000 down payment assistance program on top, we're looking at a $170,000 house. Or the Tobias Harris program is giving $75,000. Now we're looking at a $225,000 house, put $75,000 down, and you're only looking at payments of $1,300 a month. A lot of different ways for us to position these and position you for success using these programs. So you don't need a lot of money and you don't need perfect credit. I am here to tell you that nothing we do is about perfection. It's all about just getting you in the right spot so you can take advantage of these things. Okay, so here are the steps that I tell people to go over just so we can get you ready to make a move. The first step, right now we have step one, we want to research the programs, okay? I always tell people that's great, but the step one in my mind is get out there and see how money's spent. Start looking at start looking at different websites. Heck, you can go to my website, which is micitysearch.com. Let me get you a link here for that. Here is a link to start looking at homes. And let's get this out here to our Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube friends. There you go. There's the link, MI City Search. This will take you to all the homes available from realtor.com, zillow.com. It's all aggregated into my website, okay? So you will see everything that's available and not all the fluff. If you go out to Zillow, a lot of times they have homes that show pre-foreclosure, foreclosure. These are homes that aren't even available. They're just looking to get your eyeballs and sell your data. That's not what we do. We're here to give you exactly what's available. So first step we want to do is research the programs, okay? And that you can do through our app. It's very simple. It's called Zero Down Scout, okay? And this is what it looks like. You can get it on the Google Play or Apple Store. It's ZeroDownScout, okay? And all you have to do is put in an address, any address, or even just a city. It's saying right now in Detroit, 73 programs there's 73 programs in Michigan. There's more than that. It says 9 in Detroit, but I know there's closer to 13. But 16801, let me see if that pops up. Nope. Oh, hey. There it is, Lamphere Street in Detroit. That's not showing my address though. 16801. There it is. Price, let's just say 150,000. And see my programs. So right now you can see right now in the city of Detroit, in this particular house, the Detroit $25,000 program, 100% match for that. Home Boost, 25,000. Mishta, 40. Wayne County, 10. So there are all kinds of programs out there that people can qualify for. Every one having different credit criteria, income criteria, things like that. That's why I always tell people, schedule a call. I'd love to learn your situation, what areas you're thinking of moving to, and then I can kind of help guide you as far as who's going to offer the most amount of money. Now, in order to get to this application, sometimes it's just as easy to go to my website, okay? Now, here is my website. It is called Own the Roof. Okay, if not for anything else, this is what, if you're going to get one source tonight, let me just give this to everybody, put this in the comments area, paste, Own the Roof there, and let me get on our chat box. This is the one stop where you can find everything that we offer, okay? So this is the website where we give all the free educational content. And when I say free, if you are that person that is craving to learn more about these different programs, there's nothing else like it out there. First and foremost, I will tell you, if you want copies of my publications, I did not write these books to make money, even though if you want to, you can actually go out on Amazon and purchase them. But that's not my goal. The reason we have them on Amazon is it gives us good backlinks to get our website to rank. But if you want copies of my books, I send them out for free. All you got to do is text me, or you can go right to the link here, which is Own the Roof free book. So if we go here and type in, there you go. All you got to do is put in your name, phone number, email address, and it will email you a copy of the books for free. Okay. Everything on my website, I pride myself, is all about free education. So I wasn't kidding. When I had this movement or epiphany 12 years ago that I'm going to get back in the industry and teach people, I've made a large commitment for that. So we've written a couple of books. One is how to get your credit turned around 60 points in 60 days. The first one is, how to purchase with no money down using these down payment assistance programs and grants. The second tool that we built is called Zero Down Scout. That was the app that I just showed you a moment ago. You can go to my website, Own the Roof, and you can click on these links, the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. Just click on it, takes you right there, and you just install it on your phone. Very, very easy. We have over 3,000 down payment assistance programs and grants available across the country. The other things on my, we actually do webinars teaching people how they can take their home voucher and purchase homes. So we've also got your webinar that you're on this evening. We do free credit repair webinars. And for those of you, I don't know how you are, I'm not a big reader. It was all I could do to write a darn book, for God's sakes. So I don't read a lot. I like audibles. So, if I'm ever out in the yard doing my gardening, I'll listen to an audible book all day. But one thing I do like now is I like digital learning. And if you go under our courses area, we have free digital courses for all three items. Number one, if you don't like reading, you can just, if you want to watch me talk about this and teach you about the different down payment assistance programs and grants, here, No Down Payment Guide. This is a free course, probably about 6 hours long. Just put your name and email address and it'll take you right there. If you want to learn how to fix your credit, Quick Credit Score Repair. It's a free course there, probably about 3 hours of tutorials there. The next one, how to structure deals with little money out of pocket. I always get real estate agents wondering, how can I pencil these deals? How can I get people in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket? These are all the tricks. These are the ways to talk to some of the loan officers to get lender credits. Lenders can actually help pay some of your closing costs, okay? So there are lots of ways to structure transactions to get in with very little money out of pocket. So the big overview, No Down Payment Guide course, credit repair course, and for those of you that really want to get in the weeds and find out how to structure deals so you get in with very little money, take that course. Okay, so you can see we've got the digital courses, we've got the books, and we've got several different types of webinars. The Zero Down webinar, how to do Section 8 home ownership webinar, and our credit repair webinar. So I'm doing those all throughout the course of the month. So we have a big commitment to people to purchase homes with very little money out of pocket. So with that being said, let's get back to some of this. So if you go down and you look at that Zero Down Scout, like I said, all of the tools out there. Even if you go to different areas, actually, if you look at my website, you can get a feel for the different programs that are out there rather than going through that exercise. Right now, Miami, $200,000 available in down payment assistance for people living in Miami. Denver, $40,000. I don't think Austin has $260,000. I think we need to get that corrected. Detroit has up to $75,000 right now. Chicago, $40,000. Los Angeles, $160,000. New York has $260,000 in down payment assistance. That's a crazy amount of money. But you got to think that's areas where homes sell for $1 million. And then Las Vegas has 50,000. So lots of different ways to get people across the finish line with lots of amounts of money out there. Each program having a little bit different criteria with regards to credit and income and things like that. That's why I always invite people to book a call with me. And from there, we can learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and guide you to the best we possibly can. Let me get that. Here we go. I want to get that book a free call link in here again, just so, because that seems to be the one thing that most people ask for by the end. And let's get this out for our Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn friends. All right. Okay, so moving right along. All of the different programs, here's a QR code. If you want to download Zero Down Scout, screenshot this. You can download it right through the QR code and get a feel for what it's like, but no shortage of programs all across the country. Enter an address, enter a city, it's there. So the first thing you want to do is you want to download Zero Down Scout, and you want to try to zero in on what area you are thinking of moving to. A lot of these programs are based on their geographic. So whether it's Detroit, Battle Creek, Bay City, Lansing, Traverse City, you name it, different programs in different areas. A lot of them are filed by different people, different commissions in certain areas. So that's why they vary greatly. Next thing you want to do is you want to check your eligibility. Do I qualify for these programs? Okay. Does my credit score fit? Is my income in the price range that it needs to be? So, and there are other factors that come into play too, but not many. Most of it is based on your income and credit scores. Like I said, don't worry about the money. That tends to be the easiest part. We will coach you on how to get that last leg, whether we need to ask for seller concessions or lender credits, or trying to find grants. Right now, I've got one bank here in southeastern Michigan, First Merchants Bank. They're offering closing cost grant. I just got a lady $10,000 to cover her closing costs. She qualified for a zero down program to buy a condominium in Clinton Township, $150,000, zero down. Okay. And when I say zero down, it's not a high interest rate. I think she's getting at 6 3/8. That's the going rate right now. The other factor to that is there's no mortgage insurance, because this is a program. It's actually, they take grant money to buy out the mortgage insurance. So it's almost too good to be true. And then we got $10,000 to cover her closing costs. We won't even use the whole $10,000. So she's going to be able to get this home for $150,000. Actually, it's $147,000 is the exact amount, with only $1,000 out of pocket. Crazy. So, oh, and by the way, she's on a fixed income. She's on Social Security income. So don't let anybody tell you you can't do this on a fixed income. I do it all day, every day. So some of the documents that you're going to need, let me go back here. You're going to need your W-2s, possibly your tax returns for the past couple of years, bank statements for the past couple of months. We got to prove where your income's coming from. That's why we ask for the tax returns of the W-2s or pay stubs. If you're on a fixed income, then we just need your awards letter. Just that easy. Okay. So typically what I like to do is I like to learn people's situation, tell you what programs are going to be the best fit, and then connect you with that particular program. The lady I was just telling you about, Carla, was purchasing a condo. She allowed me to connect her with First Merchants Bank. She got the zero down program. Oh, by the way, that program only requires a 600 credit score for zero down with no mortgage insurance. I mean, that's a great program. Plus, they're offering anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000, but it depends on, one, where your income is, and two, whether you're buying in what they classify as a low to moderate income area. If it's an upper income area, you might only get $5,000. She hit one particular complex that happened to fall into a moderate income area, and she's getting the whole $10,000. Like I said, we may not even use all of it. So lots of different ways to get things done. So gather your information. Once we have your information, then I can point you in the direction of the lender that I think is offering the most amount of money. Now, one thing I'll tell you, I have no problem giving everybody the names of the lenders that offer the different programs. But one thing I would tell you that from experience, let me make the introduction for you. And here's why. For example, Bank of America. Bank of America has been sitting on, I think they're sitting on about $2 billion in down payment assistance money. They were fined $3 billion for some of the shenanigans that they did in the meltdown from 2008 to 2012. In 2015, they decided in order to settle, they're going to put $3 billion fine. Okay, it was all over the news. Government fines them $3 billion, but in the real world, that $3 billion doesn't really go to the government. They negotiate it. So what happens is that $3 billion went into a fund that Bank of America drips out. Okay, here it is 10 years later, and they're still sitting on $2 billion of it. So now the reason I stress that is if you go to somebody at Bank of America and say, hey, I want to get in your down payment assistance program, I can tell you they have a few thousand loan officers working for them. And in my mind, only a small percentage of them know how to tap into that money and do it without you losing your mind. Because if you don't work with a loan officer that's seasoned and knows what they're doing, these programs can be a pain in the butt. That's the only way to describe it. So without fail, I get one or two people a month that will give me a call and say, John, I went to one of your webinars. Hey, I went to this bank and now I'm not getting return phone calls or this or that. And I'm like, I don't know, who are you working with at the bank? Oh, well, you know what? I don't know that person. So they're not going to know who I am. So chances are I can't jump in and be your advocate. Now, if you allow me to introduce you to somebody at Bank of America that does these routinely and that I refer business to, when you run into those little, potholes on the road, and you will run into something, it's inevitable. I'm not going to say these are the easiest things, but I can tell you that I can smooth those things out. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to have those high-level conversations with some of these loan officers to get deals done. So I know that if I refer you to somebody, they're going to return your phone calls, because if they don't return your phone calls and you call and tell me that, I'm going to be chirping in their ear, because that's not returning phone calls is a pet peeve of mine. Okay. You can tell me no, or that it's not going to work. I can respect that. But what I can't do is I can't deal with people not communicating. Okay. So that's a pet peeve of mine. So I pride myself in that. Anyways, please let me make that introduction for you, just so we can keep the lines of communication open and make your process or your experience as pleasurable as possible. Okay. So let me connect you with a lender would be the next step. And then the final step is connecting you with an agent. Now, I have great representation in Michigan. Okay. I mean, I can't cover all of Michigan, but I have agents I work with up north, west side of the state, southeastern Michigan. I got you covered. Okay. My team and I are all over southeastern Michigan, opening doors for people on a daily basis, writing offers, negotiating them for us, and structuring the deal so people can get in with just a couple $1,000s out of pocket. And again, remember, this is not about perfection. Okay. So please, if you're in one of those remote areas, let me connect you with a loan officer, and then let me connect you with an agent that's proficient in structuring these deals to getting in with very little money out of pocket. Okay. So the next thing, imagine if all of this stuff, all of these tools that we have at your fingertips, okay, if you want to go out and take all these educational tools and learn, have at it, but you don't need to. All you need to do is schedule a call. I'm happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and for lack of better words, just point you in the right direction. So with that being said, I want to start opening it up to phone calls. We've got a few minutes here, and I always like to answer as many questions, I should say, as possible. So Mount Morris, Flint area, tons of money up there. Mount Morris and Flint are both considered underserved areas. That could be said for Warren and Roseville as well, and Clinton Township. East Point is covered in some of those areas. Romulus is a great area for some of these down payment assistance programs. Thanks for the thumbs up, Brenda. Appreciate it. Does the money grow interest? Not really sure what you're asking there. So you don't. So none of the down payment assistance programs that I tend to work with charge interest. Okay, they're going to give you that money as a credit on your closing statement. So if you're purchasing a home for $200,000 and you're getting a down payment assistance program of $20,000, you're only going to get a loan for $180,000. That's kind of how it works. Okay. What about help to buy 2 to 4 family buildings? Oh, great question. Now, most of the programs, if you go into Zero Down Scout, you're going to find 90% of these programs are for first-time home buyers. Now, there are first-time home buyer programs where you can purchase 2 to 4 family buildings. Now, these are maneuvers that are a little bit more advanced. Actually, anybody that's interested in becoming a first-time home buyer / landlord, I actually have one. Let me see if it's here. This is the list of that the landlord just sent me for properties, but I've got one that's a duplex on Maxwell in Warren. Anybody that's interested, this is a duplex that someone could purchase using a down payment assistance program with 0 down, possibly qualify for some grant money to cover your closing costs. Payments would be probably about $1,050, $1,100. And right now, the 2 units are renting for $1,800 a month. You're looking at $700 positive cash flow with very little money out of pocket. I wish I had all of these tools available back when I bought my first house. Okay, so these tools are available for people to get into the investment game. Okay, you have to be very strategic about it. This requires a phone call. There are other maneuvers out there that I teach people. They don't work as well in Michigan, but New York, California, there are cost segregation studies that these are really advanced maneuvers where you can buy 4-unit buildings, maybe for $1 million, get a $200,000 grant for down payment assistance, and they're just huge wins. Unfortunately, those types of deals they're available, but they're just not on that $1 million level like they are in New York or California. So, but happy to have those elevated conversations with you if you are looking to be that type of investor. Okay. What about the Flint area? Flint area, also not as many duplexes and triplexes, but they are out there. Always happy to do a search for you, and just schedule a call, and we'll see what we can do to, number one, get you into the right program to cover that, and number two, structure the transactions so you're getting with very little money out of pocket. Okay. You know, I do have lists all over. You can hit my website for Detroit. The ones that I have for the investor that just hit my lap right here, those are Warren, Redford, Farmington Hills, Westland, East Point, Roseville. So that's that list. So, but Danielle, schedule a call with me. Always happy to get a list together that's customized for exactly what you're looking for. You can also go right to my website, and let me give you that right here, micitysearch.com. And let's get this out there for my Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube friends. All right. Yes, so Danielle, if you could reach out to me, I'll be happy to send you that list. I just, I haven't scrubbed it, so I don't necessarily want to just put that link right out there. I'll be happy to share the addresses. I've got like rent, what people are currently paying in rent and stuff like that. So I don't think it'd be wise for me to share that on this forum. So, but if you want to reach out to me, happy to give you all the addresses for those homes. There's some good quality ones and some good deals to be had too for people looking in East Point, Warren, and Roseville right now in particular. Okay. All right. Any other questions out there? Okay, good. Someone's asking about the credit. Okay, so if you go out to my website, Own the Roof, again, this is everything I do revolves around this website. You can see all the webinars that we have. Now, just click on credit webinar and you can see, I just did one last Saturday, July 25th at 9 a.m. I believe I'm going to be scheduling one for towards the end of August. So if you want, you could register for this one. If you just go in and register, I'll make sure that you're in for the next one when we change the dates on it. Okay. So someone asking, how do we get in with just $1,000 out of pocket? All right. Well, it depends on what area you're looking in and what the purchase price is and what your situation is. But let's just do a couple of hypotheticals. So right now, getting the down payment is the easy part, okay? Suppose that's all we can do. Typically, there's going to be closing costs left over, okay? Now, closing costs to buy a house can typically be anywhere between, oh gosh, I had one the other day, $11,000, okay? A lot of money. So typically with these programs, you need to have at least 1% into the transaction. So 1% of, let's just say $200,000 is $2,000. So let's say your total closing cost bill, for me, the average person might be $7,000, $8,000. So let's just take the higher one, $8,000. Say you're buying a $200,000 home and your closing costs are $8,000. Now, when we say closing costs, it's not just closing costs. The closing costs might be $3,000. The property taxes might be $3,000. Your homeowner's insurance might be $1,500. Your title insurance might be $1,200. So it's all of those things put together are what create that large number. But we tend to call them all closing costs and lump them together. So let's just say you were buying a $200,000 house and we got your down payment covered, but we didn't really have money for your closing costs. This would be the way that I would look at it. Take 8,000, subtract 2,000, which is going to be 1% of 200,000. That's your minimum skin in the game sometimes. So that brings your total down to 6,000. Now, suppose we get the seller to pay 3,000 of it. Now we're down to only 3,000 left. There are different grants or down payment assistance programs, or not down payment, there's different closing cost grants to chip away at that 3,000, or sometimes we can get lender credits. A lot of banks, I've got one bank right now that'll give you $500 to open up a checking account at the time of closing. All you got to do is put $20 in an account, bam, you get a $500 credit at your closing. Open up a savings account, there's another $500. There's a $1,000 credit from one lender. There's also lender credits. This is something that's like behind the curtain that most lenders don't talk about, okay? When I buy a house, I never pay closing costs. And the reason I don't is because if I pay closing costs and the interest rates go down, I've got to think about all the money I paid in closing costs. What's my break-even period? I would rather pay zero in closing costs, and then if the rate goes down a little bit, I just refinance again for no closing costs. I saw more people throw money out the window refinancing for 1990 all the way to 2020. It's ridiculous. Try to do it with as little money out of pocket as possible for closing costs, because if the interest rates move, you don't have to worry about a break-even period. That's just the way I structure deals. So there are lots of ways for us to ask for credits from lenders. Lenders have the ability to actually increase your interest rate a little bit. Okay. Now, this is an advanced maneuver, so I'm going to try to explain it. Suppose the interest rates are at 6%. Okay. And if you take an interest rate of 6.25%, that lender is going to yield 0.25% more per year over the life of the loan. Okay. That's thousands of dollars. What they can do is your loan is now worth a few $1,000s more on the secondary market if they sell it. So as a result, they can take that extra $2,000 premium and give it to you to cover your closing costs. It's called a lender credit through premium pricing. It's a rather advanced maneuver, but just the same, all lenders have access to it. Now, you can't just keep increasing interest rates. It just doesn't work that way. But for example, I just had someone today that was purchasing a home, actually in Detroit. The purchase price was $200,000. Okay. We ended up getting a $6,000 seller credit to cover her closing costs, but her closing costs are going to be close to $8,000 to $9,000. So what we're doing though is we're getting a lender credit. We increased her interest rate from 6.375 by 0.25% to 6.625. That extra 0.25% got her back $2,000. And we used that to cover the balance of the closing costs that the seller couldn't cover. So those types of maneuvers are out there. It's just that they don't really publicize them in the mortgage world. And I'll be upfront with you. A lot of mortgage loan officers don't know how to go to their secondary marketing department and ask, hey, can we get a lender credit with premium pricing? So you'd be surprised how many lenders I teach on that one. Okay. But this is just from my background, being in the mortgage world for so long and working in that level, that premium pricing is available for most people, especially on FHA loans. Conventional loans, I have them as well. So anyways, that's more of an advanced maneuver. Don't mean to take you in the weeds. I do go over that in my my course with regards to, let's get back here. Oh, by the way, we do have a website that's absolutely 100% designed for Zero Down Scout. So if you ever need to go there, but let's go back. It is in my courses area under structuring deals with little money down. So I go over all the different tools and tricks and how we can get it. So that's why I say the money is the easiest part for me. It's just a function of learning your situation. So let me go through some more of these questions here. Someone's asking, hey, Willie, hey, glad you could make it. So do these programs work for foreclosures as well? Foreclosures are a little bit different. So, and the reason I say they're different is there are a lot of websites like Zillow where they have, if you want to search foreclosures, they're there. The problem is that the homes aren't necessarily available. They're not for sale. Okay. The Michigan foreclosure laws are fairly, they really lean towards the actual buyer or owner of the house. So Zillow starts putting homes on their foreclosure list once people are 30 days down on their mortgage. Okay, so if you're behind on your mortgage 30 or 60 days, they're going to put you on a pre-foreclosure list. Doesn't mean you're in foreclosure. In fact, usually you're not going to go into foreclosure till you're probably 3 months behind. Okay, then they're going to put your home up for sale, okay, at the county. That could take another month or two. Okay, so it could take 6 months for your home to actually be sold at the foreclosure sale. Okay, but there's more. After the 6 months in the state of Michigan, the owner gets what's called a redemption period. So you have the ability to buy the house back for another 6 months. So it takes up to a year for foreclosures to actually hit the market. And even then, after that year lapses, they have asset managers that go in, clear the house, do it. It could take a year and a half, 2 years for houses to actually hit the market. Now, there aren't a lot of foreclosures yet, but they are starting to, the foreclosures, the default rates are starting to spike. Okay. I will tell you right now in this market, if there are any deals to be had in foreclosures, there's a lot of cash on the sidelines pouncing on that. Okay. So I don't know if I would get caught up on foreclosures. What I would get caught up on are homes that are on the market for an extended period of time. So look for days on market. If you start seeing houses on the market more than 90 days, I'm finding they're a lot more negotiable. Okay. So now that's not to say in 3-4 months, if the foreclosure trend continues to go, in about 6 to 12 months, we could see a nice wave of foreclosures coming down the pike. But I will tell you, with all of the different tools that are out there to help homeowners, it's not going to be a repeat of what happened in 2008 to 2012. That was insanity. What happened back then was the banks didn't know how to do it. Okay. So they panic sold. And what happened was the feds made the banks mark those assets down on their books. So, for example, if they had $1 million in loans that were foreclosed on, and now those homes were only worth 500,000, they made the bank mark that down as a loss on their books. So the banks, with the banking regulations, they couldn't stomach that. So they had to get those things off their books. So they panic sold them. They're not going to let that happen again. Okay. There's no way. Because what happened was after 2-3 years, the banks got a plan in place. They started holding those foreclosures and they started to manipulate them, and they throttled those foreclosures out to the consumers to purchase, knowing that the prices, by flooding the market, the drop happened. They know if they throttle them out now, they can maintain those prices and actually make a profit on those foreclosures, as sad as it sounds. So that won't happen again in my mind. So let's see what other questions we have here. Sorry, I tend to go into the weeds a little bit on some of these explanations. Great, a lot of activity from Facebook and YouTube this evening. Glad to see it. You know, Sean, 4231, there's lots of deals out there. If you're looking for investment deals, I've got a couple in my pocket that I'd be happy to share with people. So if that's what you're looking for, great. If you're looking for something for you and your family, obviously, always have those at my fingertips. Always happy to do a custom search and pinpoint you with some of the programs, depending upon where you're looking. Okay, I will tell you right now, the City of Detroit Down Payment Assistance Program is probably the most flexible program. There's actually no credit score requirements on that program. We just have to get you approved for the underlying financing. So Tecumseh, Michigan. Awesome, Rebecca. Yes, there are. So there are a couple of different programs that can be covered in Tecumseh. So schedule a call with me. Happy to go through and tell you exactly what programs are available and how to structure those deals. Good night, Brenda Starr. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. Good. Glad to hear it. So let me get you my book a free call. There you go. Here's a link to my calendar. Please go ahead and schedule. And let's get back to all right. Good. Willie, I hope you're making progress with the lender I connected you with. Great, Leah. Hey, thanks for joining us. All right. Okay, any other questions before? Oh, here we go. Sharon. I'm looking Detroit, have a Section 8 voucher. Oh, Sharon, I am. Have you taken the course? The home purchase, they call it the HCV home purchase course for HUD. Yes, in fact, I probably got a good 10 people I'm working with right now taking advantage of some of the programs that are out there where we actually will structure it where your Section 8 voucher will make the house payment for you. Crazy as it sounds, we're doing it routinely right now. Christian. Christian says, thank you for this wealth of knowledge, John. My wife and I will definitely be reaching out for your expertise, first-time home buyers. Christian Cannon, thank you so much, Christian. Appreciate the vote of confidence and look forward to chatting with you. Sharon, awesome. So I'll tell you what, Sharon, do me a favor, just reach out to me. Are you with the DHC, the Detroit Housing Commission? Awesome. Good. Okay. So I don't know if you're working with Terrence Watson. He is heading up that the home purchase program. Actually, if you go back on my webinars on my YouTube channel, let's see where that is. It is. Dun, dun, dun. I did a webinar with Terrence from the Detroit Housing Commission a couple of weeks ago. Excuse all this fluff here. We want to go to the channel. Switch channels, own the roof. And maybe not. Don't want to view channel stats. That's, oh, wrong channel. Let's get to this one. View your channel. There we go. We had one a couple of weeks ago live, and here it is. Go to this if you're interested. Anybody else that's out there, you'll see the one right here, 24 views. Here's how. So either one, looks like it's up here twice. Myself and Terrence Watson with the Detroit Housing Commission did a program for people that are with the DHC. And actually we're trying to line up a date for next month where we can do it for all the people that have the certificate. So I would encourage you, probably Sharon, to get started with that as soon as possible, because I feel like if we do one for all of the people, the floodgates will probably open. I think Terrence shared with me there's an excess of 350 people. So that's a lot of people to hit the market at once. Not sure if everybody's ready to do that at once. Don't think that the staffing is there for it. I'm not sure where everybody is with regards to being approved for their journey to home ownership with a voucher. But just the same, we've got a clear path for you to get approved for that. So thanks for joining us this evening, Sharon, and thanks for sharing that. So let me give you my cell phone number. It's 248-252-7283. Sharon is my cell phone number. I have a soft spot in my heart for people with the Housing Commission, so anything I can do to further the cause, all about that. All right. Any other questions out there before we wrap it up this evening? Please do, Willie. Thanks for checking out the courses. So the email are you waiting on the email for the book, Willie? Got it. No, Willie, I think you've got my direct contact information. Just shoot me a text whenever you get a chance, and I'll be happy to send that either one of the books out. I'll send you both books. Okay. In fact, I'm sure I've got you programmed in my phone. I'll make sure I do that as soon as we break tonight. So, any other questions before we call it an evening? So, I appreciate everyone spending some time with us on a Wednesday evening on a beautiful July day. That number again, 248-252-7283. You are welcome. So, Danielle, any questions, feel free to text me. You can always call me. I am a self-professed phone jockey, so I'm on the phone all day. So if I don't answer, please either leave a message. Every now and then I get a lot of voicemails. My voicemail gets filled up, but always shoot me a text. I do have a lot of calls that tend to get scheduled. Um, and a lot of people, people are busy. They can't always hold their calls, and I understand that. So always happy to return calls, in between calls, for lack of better words. Melvin Johnson, John, is NACA program a good program? Okay, so boy, NACA is a solid program. Unfortunately, I feel like their representation in the Detroit area is less than quality. In fact, I feel like NACA is very good to me because people go to NACA, get so frustrated, and then they finally find me, and we end up getting them done. I don't like the way NACA rolls. I feel like they book appointments for people, don't show, don't return phone calls. It's just things that are just pet peeves of mine. Okay, everybody's time is valuable, and I feel like to not return phone calls and not hold appointments, which is what they're known for in the Detroit marketplace. I routinely get people that have appointments scheduled. They go there and it's locked or nobody's there. Or it's just, I don't feel like there's any accountability in the Detroit center. But they are a national thing. What I don't like about them from their products is they advertise that you don't need a credit score and you can get into a house getting a NACA loan. Well, if you ever read their guidelines, it doesn't work that way. Okay, their guidelines state that there's no late payment. You can't have any late payments or collections in the last 12 months. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't have any late payments or collections in the last 12 months, you probably got a credit score above 600 and you can get a lot of down payment assistance programs. So I feel like there's no, you don't need a credit score with them, but they do have credit requirements that I feel like, I don't know, just anyways, so I'm just not a huge NACA fan. Everybody else in the space I like. Oh, yeah. So Danielle's asking, do you work closely with the Detroit $25,000 program, or do you have a website apply on your own? No, so the easiest way to do that, Danielle, is give me a call. Let me learn your situation. Okay. Now, technically, the Detroit program does not have a credit score requirement. But what we do have to do is we've got to get you approved for an underlying loan. That does many times have a credit score requirement. So we have to make sure we align you with the lender that's going to get you approved for the underlying program, because they won't give you the $25,000 without the underlying mortgage. So what I typically like to do is learn your situation. Okay, first of all, I love the Detroit program. It's a free $25,000. Just keep the house for, I think it's 5 years, and you get to keep all the money. Maybe 3. Anyways, what I find is that we connect you with the lender, get you pre-approved, let the lender file all the paperwork with the city of Detroit. Okay, you can certainly do it, but what they're going to do is they're going to go, okay, great, you've done enough. Now you got to stop and get approved with a lender. Your file stalls. Okay, until a lender picks it up, and then they'll pick it up again. I always tell people, go to the lender. The lender, if you go to one of the preferred lenders, okay, and when I say preferred lenders, there are a few regional banks that I feel get preferential treatment, and their files tend to go to the front of the Detroit DPA line. Okay, so that's why it's just the way it is. Okay, so they're comfortable working with with a certain amount of banks, just like the Housing Commission. The Detroit Housing Commission only has 10 lenders that they recommend. I'll tell you, there's only 3 or 4 that I think are doing a great job. So, and just like most of the down payment assistance programs or grants that are out there, they get comfortable, okay? And they know that they can pick up a phone call and call someone at the Detroit DPA and say, hey, John, why is my loan not getting looked at? Why is it jammed up? And I guarantee you those relationships all of a sudden push those files to the top. So anyways, those relationships are worth something when it comes to dealing with those types of programs. So hit me up and let me help you connect the dots on that, Danielle. Okay. In fact, I will tell you right now that Danielle, I think you were the same person that was Sharon. So Sharon, keep in mind the 25,000. I'm using that a lot on the housing choice voucher program. Okay. So, but Danielle, yes, the 25,000, that's available to anybody that has lived in the city for the last 12 months. Okay. So, any other questions before we call it an evening here? I have great questions tonight. Thanks for watching, Willie. Hope you have a good evening. Drive safely. All right. Okay. Well, I feel like everyone's got my number. Please don't be shy. Reach out to me. If you have any friends, family members, anyone that needs help, like I said, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, makes no difference to me. I am around for the duration. I love what I do. So please reach out. Always happy to learn your situation, put myself in your shoes, and point you in the right direction. So any of you that are ever looking for the replays, please hit my YouTube channel up. You can see that, boy, we've been doing these webinars probably 3, 4, 5 years now. I wonder, gosh, I never thought about 1 year ago. No, those are 9 years ago. Wow, I didn't realize 3 years ago. Son of a gun. So we've been doing this stuff on YouTube quite some time right now. So love what I do, love sharing the content, and love, I guess, paying it forward, for lack of better words. So, but anyways, thank you all very much for watching this evening, and hope our paths cross again soon. So have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.
Record.